Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this past week's trades and the weekly recap. Before I get into the video, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. These take a long time to make, and so liking the video definitely helps. Also, I did finish the week with 23 wins and 1 loss for a win rate of 95.83%. Definitely pleased about the week. Very strong week. January has been strong. The start of 2023 has been strong, so I'm very, very pleased about that. So I like to continue the momentum going. Now, the 23rd was Monday, trade ideas room. I said SPY puts under 395, which is pre-market low right here. You can see the red candle, it did not do that. Instead, it just it dropped a little bit. I don't touch the first 10-minute candle because it's just too much noise. But even the next 10-minute candle you watch throughout the the recap video, there's been fake outs, but we're not going to talk about that right this second. But the red candle was right there. I was looking for puts. The put to call ratio was very, very low. Everybody was on calls, in calls. So I was looking at puts and it popped. I mean, I should have taken calls right here, but I didn't. So I took puts at 1047, which is right at 400. Right when I hit 400. I took 4,000 puts at 630, and I think I actually might have sold some. I think. Let me just double check. No, I'm gonna look at the exits, not that. The 23rd. $9.57. No, 23rd. I'm looking at the 20th. Yeah, no, I didn't take any. As soon as I got in, it went against me. Went right. See, I got it right here at 1047, which is right here, right at the 400 level. It decided to dump a little bit. Then you see this monster green candle right here. And this thing just, I was not expecting that to happen, especially going from 388 to 400. We went up 12 points in 2 days. That's kind of extreme, especially right here when you get to 400 level. 400 is such a huge round number. It barely reacted to it. It just stormed right through it. It just caught me by surprise. I was not expecting that, but it did end up averaging down later on at 1125, which is right here. As you can see, I got it here, popped up, started to show a little weakness right here, but when it got underneath this 401.20 area, that's where I ended up adding. I added more at 210, bringing my average down at 350, and I was able to get out at 390. So able to get out green. Definitely pleased about that. Was not happy with the first trade of the day, of the week. So I really thought we were going to get more of a reaction than we did right here at 400. But this, you can see this green candle went from 399.93 to 401.70. I mean, almost a $2 pop on that. That's just completely ridiculous. But it is what it is. It does happen. It's part of trading. So I waited for the right time to average down and thinking that this was an overextended move, which it was. And then it just did dump. Head up air flag, then dump more. So but then again, I grabbed calls at the next play. I grabbed calls at 1258, which is right here. Popped up, rejected. Popped up, dropped, came back up a little bit, testing this breakdown here, right here. Dropped more. Then it came back up to this 401.50 area. Then once it broke that area, that's where I grabbed calls. Grabbed the 40-30 calls at 710, and they went from 710 to 880, so got a little bit of a nice move right there. Then I grabbed calls again at 238, which is right here. No, 238, right down here, right at the 399 level. I grabbed, let's see, the 415 calls at 640. Got this little knife catch right here. Got it at 640, then from 640 to 710, and that little pop right there. Then I decided to grab puts at the end of the day at 306, right here. Right here, is that where I grabbed it? I'm not quite sure where I grabbed it. Right, I must have got the VWAP rejection. I don't know why I grabbed it right there. I shouldn't have. The VWAP is way too close to the price, and whenever price is rate chopping around or near VWAP, it likes to steamroll through, whether it's up or down. So I probably shouldn't have taken that play. That play I probably should not have never taken. So that's a loss, the only loss for the week that I could have avoided. But it is what it is. I don't know, not quite sure what I was thinking right there, why I was thinking puts right there. But yeah, I grabbed the 4,005 puts at 640 and ended up being a loss. So did not work out. But kind of a head scratcher why I did that. But it is what it is. Now on Tuesday, Trade Ideas Room, I said, just make sure everything's working right. Sometimes I hit record and I think I did and I didn't. So the 24th, Tuesday, SPY puts under 398, which is 398, which is down here. I just averaged down. I rounded down to the nearest dollar to give it a better, nice round number to remember. I like to do that. I like to round them down to like the nearest dollar or 50 cents. I don't really want to go say, okay, I want to take this over 399.42. I don't like doing that. I just round it up to 399.50 or 398 or whatever. That's what I prefer to do at the opening. So I took calls at 9:47. You had a red candle and didn't make new lows. It did a little bit right there, but I didn't take it for some reason. I waited. I think this is what I was remembering, is that this was faking out. I think the last week it did this. It did this a lot. Yeah, like right here. This is where it did last week. Had a nice strong green candle. You get calls right here, and then it just dumps on you. So it's been doing that a lot lately. Same here. Looks like it's gonna make high, and it doesn't. Then it dumps. I mean, it's been faking out. Same here. Makes new high a day, then dumps and comes back, dumps. I mean, it's been like that for the opening 10, 20 minutes of the day as you get those fake outs. And so I kind of was hesitant about that. So when it did have the red candle, it did drop below. I kind of waited, but when it came back up and broke over the high of day of this candle, I did grab calls. I grabbed the 40-20 calls at 740, and then went from 740 to 970. You got to keep in mind that this stuff does happen. It's been happening a lot lately. Usually, if you get the first 10-minute candles red and it drops to lower day, you usually get more momentum, more continuation. But lately, it just like it fakes out, then it rips the other way. It's just been doing that a lot lately. So you got to either play really, really small the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the day, or not play at all, or just wait it out and just see what happens and see if it fakes out. But yeah, that's just how I played that on, I think, most of the rest of the week, I think. But anyways, I grabbed puts at 10:03, which is right here, right in this candle. You can see we got calls here. We got the pop up here. Then it quickly got rejected. Then it made, once it got below this 398.30 area, that's where I grabbed the puts. I grabbed the 39.90 puts at 870, and they went from 870 to 13.30 in that little drop right there. So I got a nice little play out of that. Then I switched to calls at 10:43, which is right here. You can see this whole congestion right here. You get this like little triangle going on right here. When it broke over the 399.50 area, that is when I grabbed the 40-10 calls at 940, and they went from 9 1240 to 1230 in that push right there. Then I grabbed calls again at 119, which is right here. You see it just chopping around right here, making an ascending triangle. Well, kind of like, yeah, descending triangle, making lower highs. But yeah, it's flattening out. It does look like it's going to break below, which it did. I could have grabbed puts right here. I didn't, but it quickly got bought back up. When it quickly got bought back up, this is where I grabbed calls. I grabbed them in this candle. Yeah, I grabbed them in this candle right up in here, right around the 450 cents area. I grabbed the 40-20 calls at $6, and they went from $6 to $9.20 in that push right there. So then the next play I took puts at 333, which is right here. See, when I make the calls, I should be able to look right at the map, the chart map. I don't know why I said map. Look right at the chart, see exactly where I took it without even having to look at the time. If I could do that, then I know that I did everything right. And if I have to look at the time and say, okay, well, why did I take it here? Then I shouldn't have taken that trade. I should be able to just to look right at the chart and say, okay, I should have taken it here. 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 You know, when I see that stuff, that's when I know that I'm doing something right. So I'm doing it right. But right here's where I took the puts. You get all these little candles right up here. I like to see these small candles, and then I'll take, especially if it looks like it's getting weak and it's topping out, like right here, it rejected, came back up, rejected, and it's not, and it's kind of like pushing down, get more selling pressure. So when it broke below this 450 area again, I grabbed the 40-15 puts at 360, and they went from 360 to 950 on that little play right there. So nice little play on that. So had a nice good day on Tuesday. Now Wednesday, traded his room. What is it? 25th. SPY calls over 397. 397 is this area right here. It's actually this support right here, but I mean I could have called it right up here at 397.50, but I wanted to kind of have a nice round number. So right here it did the same thing. I had a green candle when it broke the high of day, which was 396 10ish 15ish. I grabbed calls. I grabbed 39.90 calls at 7:30. It got a nice little continuation right there from 7:30 to 8:40. Almost got a dollar move, well, $1.10 move. But this is what I'm talking about right here. Green candle makes more a little bit of continuation, then it just gets harshly rejected. Then I switched to no, I didn't switch to calls. What was happening at this time? Okay, I got calls here, then when it dropped, it reloaded. I reloaded the calls. There was something happening this day. Let me check to see the 25th. Oh yeah, Bank of Canada had their monetary policy and their interest rate thing, because the ECB and the Bank of Japan, when they did their interest rates, or did not raising their rate or slowing down, the market just popped. So I reloaded for a second time, thinking, okay, Bank of Canada, if they do anything, not the market usually doesn't care about that, but for some reason it's caring right now. So I reloaded and grabbed it just in case it did it, and I grabbed it small, and it didn't, and it dumped. But I did hold on to it. I held on to it the entire day. I had a small position because I knew it was a gamble. It was purely a gamble. But this was an actual play that opened, so I was in a little heavier there. But when I reloaded, it wasn't that much. But it is what it is. But I did hold it just for whatever, and they ended up turning green, and then I ended up getting out. But yeah, I got them at 670. Then they ended up going to 960. So I did get out of that. So if he held all the way through, and I didn't really care. To me, the position was small. I was a gamble position, and when I do gambles like that, I pretty much call them a loss anyway. So, but it's a loss that ended up turning green and getting out for a win. So I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. But then I took puts at, let's see, 1024. which is right here. It dropped down, popped back up. This is where I'm expecting the pop to happen from the calls, and it just didn't. Then it just pushed down. But once we broke below the 394.50 area, I grabbed the 39.50 puts at 8.50, and they went from 8.50 to 12.20 right there. So that was a nice little play. That pretty much paid for the gamble right there. I wasn't worried about that. I mean, I don't worry about losses because I know I'll make it up on the next play or two. So I never lose sleep about losses. So if you are one of those type of people that fears having losses, then trading is probably not going to be for you. That's part of the game. You just got to know, adapt to the conditions, know what time of day works, what time of day it doesn't. Know news events. News events have been so iffy that they'll rocket in one direction on the drop the news, and if you go and chase it, it gets slammed the other way. It's just news plays used to be so good, and they're just not anymore. Not unless you're already in it beforehand, and even then, you're basically flipping a coin. You're gambling, so there's no real advantage to that. So, but anyways, I know I'm rambling a lot, but then I switched to calls at 12.40, which is right here. Now we got this little push right here. This is where I got out of the calls that I had during the Bank of Canada announcement. I got out of them. I pulled back and made a nice little a bull flag right here. And when it got right over the 397.50 area, that's where I grabbed calls. I grabbed the 39.90 calls at 6.10, and actually I grabbed it right here. I grabbed it right over the 397.20. That's where I ended up grabbing them right here. And you got that little bit of a push right there. So they went from $6.10 to $7 right there. Then it pulled back, then it rocketed, and I was just like, okay, that just they ended up going to I think like $30 or something. I don't remember. Then I ended up taking puts at 220, which is right here. I remember this move. I was not expecting this extreme move. We get right into the 400 area again. It just pushes right through it, but it quickly rejects it. I waited for a 10-minute candle to form. And actually, no, yeah. No, I didn't wait for the 10-minute candle to form. Maybe I did. No, I didn't. I think I actually chased this red candle. For some reason, I thought I did, but this is where I grabbed it in a challenge right here. Because I remember waiting for a 10-minute candle or red candle to form, then I was taking new puts on next red candle's lower day. Whenever you have a strong move like this and you don't really know where the top's going to be, sometimes I just wait for a 10-minute red candle to form. Then I'll take puts in the next lower day, next lower candle, like I did right here with the challenge. But when it started to go under 400, rejecting 400, started to show weakness, I think that's when I ended up jumping in. I jumped in with a 40 to 15 puts at 730, and they went from 730 to 940 right there. So I think as soon as it got below 400, that's where I jumped in the puts. So it was kind of risky to do that. But I do remember taking, when it dropped right here and it pulled back up, that I was going to take puts right there in the challenge, and I think I did. So if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I don't know. I take so many plays per day, I have no clue half the time. That's why I have to reference to the timestamps and Discord and stuff like that, because I do so much and I just forget. So that was the puts play right there, and I called it a day on Wednesday. Kind of a real bizarre day. That's a huge J hook right there. It makes a J hook. But anyways, Thursday. Let's see, Thursday, traded his room. SPY puts under 402. Make sure I get the right day here. Under 402, which is right here, this low, I rounded down. Waited for the first 10-minute candle to form. It did. Tried to make new high a day. I wasn't interested in that. So as soon as it broke below the 402 area, 403 area, that's where I grabbed the 40-30 puts at 8:30, and then went from 8:30 to 16:40 right there. So got a nice little dump there. That actually got some continuation. But if you look at it this way, that It did pretty much like over here. Green candle, a little bit of continuation, then dumped. Green candle, next 10-minute candle, made a new high a day, just a little bit, then it flushed. So that's what it's been doing almost all the time the last few weeks, a couple weeks, is that it puts in a green candle, makes it look bullish, and it will make a next high a day a little bit, then it will drop the other direction, like a Muhammad Ali's like rope-a-dope, where it just kind of makes it look one direction, then it ends up going another. So that's exactly what it's doing. So I did take the puts right there, got a nice little play out of that. Then I took calls at 10.56, which should be right. No, I didn't take right there. 10.56. Right here. Not quite sure. Oh, I grabbed it right at 400. Yeah, I grabbed it right here, right at the 400 area. I grabbed the 40-30 calls at 7:30. As you can see right here, it's resistance. Now it's support, and you get the huge round number. So I had the 40-30 calls at 790, and they went from 790 to 1040 on that little push up. Then I got calls again at 1252, which is right. I didn't grab it right there. I should have grabbed it right through there. I didn't. 1252. Right here. Yeah, I grabbed 40 calls at 1252, which is right here. Pushed through VWAP, pull back, tried to break out. And this is where, no, I didn't buy it right there. Pull back, went underneath VWAP, and it quickly came back up to the 40260 area, and that's where I grabbed it, thinking we're going to pop here. But yeah, it still stayed above VWAP. It went under it, but it got quickly bought up. So when it got here and it pulled back, I wasn't worried about it. This 20 EMA, which is the blue line, and VWAP, the dotted line, still holding, then it popped. So those 40 calls did go from 750 to 1150 on that pop right there. Then I bought puts at 226, which is right here. 226. Yeah, 226 is where I bought it. So right when you had all these candles right here, I probably got it underneath this 402.85 area. I grabbed the 40-45 puts at 820. It went against me a little bit. Then we got to high a day. Right when it broke high a day, I think. Let me check. 245. 245 right here. I got it right here for some reason. So I got it right there. Then when I made new high a day, I grabbed more right here. So I initially had it at 820. I added more at 370, making my new average 480. And then it did finally dump a little bit right here. I bought it right at the high a day. So I averaged down and I was able to get out. Let's see, I had it at 820, added more at 370. If I remember correctly, I think I had 5 and I added 15 more, bringing me down from average down at 370 to bringing my average down to 480. And I was able to get out in that little drop right there. I'm not quite sure why I averaged down there and not up here. You can see why I would have done it up here, but I don't know. But this is what I did. It's kind of a head scratcher why I did that right there. Probably thinking that it was going to pop out of here and be a fake out, and that's exactly what happened, and I got lucky. So, I don't know. I'll have to real head scratcher on that one. But anyways, then I took calls at the 40-50 calls at 3 o'clock, which is right here. It dropped down, came back up to high a day. And this is where you get into the last, I've been saying this in the room, that whenever SPY is at or near high a day in power hour, it's more than likely going to push more, regardless of how overbought it is or how overextended it is. It's just been the scenario for a long time that when SPY is chopping or at high a day, it just likes to push more, and that's where it likes to trap people and ends up squeezing more people out. And so usually when you see these ridiculous moves like this, so I had the 40-50 calls at $4, and then went from $4 to $4.80. I got out right here, then pulled back, then it rocketed more. So not quite pleased at some of the plays, like this last puts play right here. I'm not quite sure why I got it here, but it is what it is. It ended up working out. I ended up getting out. So then the calls here, I definitely see why I grabbed the calls here. I mean, because of power hour at higher day, the SPY's going to push a little more. I did chop a little more, and usually if it doesn't push, it will chop near higher day. So that's the only downfall of playing end of day, is that if you get chops, theta will just destroy you, and that's just part of the game. So if you don't like playing the theta game, you just stay away from the last hour. You need to figure out what plays work for you, what plays don't work for you, and adjust. Don't just play for the sake of playing. That's not, you shouldn't do that. So 27th, which is Friday, Trade Ideas room, SPY calls over 404.50, which is rate. Let's got this high day right here, and then you pre-market high. So I just rounded up. First 10-minute candles green. As soon as it broke higher day, I grabbed calls. So I grabbed the 40-70 calls at 7:30, and they went from 7:30 to 12. Pull back a little bit here, then it ended up rocking more. So it ended up being a good play. Then I grabbed calls at 11:17, which is right here. I mean, this was kind of a really weird day on Friday. Shot right up to 406.50 plus area. Then it went back to lower day. I didn't grab calls right here. I probably should have. I just not quite sure why. But I remember seeing, at least this candle I remember happening when I wasn't looking. Then all of a sudden I saw it down at VWAP. I didn't want to take it. Then it flushed through. So I was kind of surprised that it flushed through like that. But when it got back down here to lower day, and it made these two candles right here, when it got over the 404.50 area, that's where I ended up grabbing the 40-60 calls at 980. And they went from 980 to 1770, and that pushed right through VWAP up. You see again right here, what I was talking about, it's underneath VWAP, and it just pushes through violently. So SPY has been doing that a lot lately. Usually VWAP has been good support and good resistance to play off from, but when price is too close to it, it just steamrolls through, so you got to be careful of that. Then I grabbed puts at 102, which is right here. Yeah, right here. Higher day. Rejected a little bit, made new higher day right here, and quickly made this little doji. Then it came back down. Then when it broke the underneath the 406.50 area, that's where I grabbed puts. I grabbed the 40-75 puts at 870. It went from 870 to 1060 right there. So I got a nice little move out of that. I like these small little candles right here, so it gives me something to go off from. So then I took calls at 2 p.m., which is right here. Same thing happened. Rejected higher day, rejected higher day, came back up to higher day, and then when it got up to higher day again right here at the 406.70 area, that's where I grabbed the calls, the 40-75 calls at $8, and they went from $8 to 1040, and that push right there. I had a nice little ascending triangle going on right here, flattening out at 406, we'll say 65, making a higher low, so it's making an ascending triangle right here, flattening out right there, and it broke through. Got a nice little move out of that. Then I took puts at 314, which is right here. This is the one I do remember saying, maybe it wasn't the challenge one. I think I did it with the challenge one too, but this is, I think, the candle I was talking about. I didn't know where the top was, so I waited for the 10-minute candle to form. Once it made the red candle and it got below lower day underneath the 407.50 area, that's where I grabbed the 40-90 puts at 580, and they went from 580 to 860 in that drop, but they went a lot more than that over here. So yeah, just in that little drop right there, they went almost $3 on that little drop right there. Just that was probably more like a $20 move. That's why I trade SPX. The moves are more violent. You get more money out of it, but there's also more risk. So those were the plays for the week. A loss I took. I didn't really need to. A couple trades I took were very iffy, so they did end up working out, but kind of like a head scratcher why I did what I did back here. But it is what it is, so I'm not going to complain. Good week. Next week it's going to be very, very weird week. Got a lot going on. We'll cover that in the watch list. So that's going to do it for the recap, and thanks for watching.